For once, this is my third time here. For once, I get to come with Katie, and we brought our gloves for some catch.
Hey, is this heaven?
Yeah, it's Iowa. Well, we made it out here. Here's the house and everything. The only downside is that, unfortunately, none of the stalks of corn are out in the cornfield. But God, how fun. I can't wait to play catch with you. This is going to be a blast.
I know.
Of course, this is in the movie when Ray has built this and meets Shoeless Joe out here, and then all the players end up coming out here. They have the part where the corn, where you normally come out of the corn, is all kind of fenced off right now. But they do have, there's the house over there and the stands that you'd see in the movie where they would have been, where James Earl Jones is here.
Hi, good to see you. Terry, I'd like you to meet Shoeless Joe Jackson. Joe, Terry Mann.
They have the porch swing even. If you take the tour up there, you can sit on the porch swing that's right there. And the barn is still over there. They've added, this is now the gift shop over here. But that is the original farmhouse.
Thanks a lot.
That you can take a tour of. But you can only sit on the swing or in the swing if you're taking the tour.
Annie, what was that?
What was that? We didn't hear anything.
You can probably see off in the distance. That's where the field and everything was for the major league games when they have them. This has been a bucket lister for me to do with Katie. This is going to be fun.
Let's get out there.
And this is where at the end of the movie when they're arguing, Ray and his brother-in-law are arguing, and Karen, the daughter, falls off the back.
Damn space. Get your hands off. I'm trying to help you, damn it.
And Moonlight Graham, Doc, leaves the field, and right when he steps off the field, he goes from being Archie, Moonlight Graham, to becoming Doc.
What do we got here?
Of 1972, and he comes over and saves her, finds out she's choking on a hot dog. But then after he ends up saving her, all of a sudden the brother-in-law, who's trying to get them to sell the farm, looks around, and all the baseball players he never saw before, he's like, where'd all these players come from? So it's kind of a cool part in the movie.
This field, this game, it's a part of our past, Ray. It reminds us of all that once was good, and it could be again.
And actually, one of the ghost players is out here. They told us he's out here walking around somewhere, so we'll get to see one of the guys who actually played in the movie. Of course, this is where Kevin Costner's pitching to Ray Liotta, and Ray Liotta was cast as Shoeless Joe Jackson, but he bats right-handed, and Shoeless Joe was left-handed. And they didn't care. They just left him in there instead of recasting him, or they just said we don't have time to teach him anything else. So we'll walk out and see the cornfield also.
I didn't understand. What?
Ease his pain.
Ease his pain? What What the hell does that mean? Ease his pain.
Unfortunately, I thought the corn would be kind of high right now. I didn't realize that it'd be gone, because that's a big part of the fun, is walking out of the corn. When I took the tour of the house, they told me all the crazy trouble they had filming out here, where that year they didn't get any rain. So when they were waiting for the corn to come up, it wasn't gonna come up in time. So they had to literally come out and water it with like these gigantic watering machines, and then blast it with artificial light just to get it to where they could film it. And then it was losing its color and dying at the end when they were trying to wrap up the movie, so they had to physically go out and paint it, like spray paint the corn. There's one of the night lights. We are actually in the outfield. How cool. Where the movie was actually filmed. Show you the corn, even though it's not here right now. I'm not sure. I think I heard him say that they were done doing the Major League games out here. That's where the corn would normally be. If you build it, he will come.
That's how big it is.
Yeah. It's a great movie if you've never seen it. That's where that iconic line, if you build it, he will come. And it's a movie about a relationship with a father. Ray, played by Kevin Costner, has a complicated relationship with his father. And through building this, his father comes back as a baseball player, and they get to bond one last time. Katie and I will film a little bit of us playing, because we really did want to come out here and play. Now we're gonna go play a little bit over on the field. Wouldn't be a filming day without a lawnmower. I do want to take the opportunity to sit on those bleachers. I can't even look at it without thinking of Kevin Costner's going like, "You're interrupting the game." What'd you find?
There's an engraving right here that says Ray loves Annie.
I'd never seen that before. Wow.
What's through?
It means they lost it on purpose. Gamblers paid them to.
We're also going to show you not just the filming locations here at the field. We're going to show you when they go off looking for Terrance Mann and Archibald Graham. So this is the view that Ray would have had watching all those players. And when James Earl Jones, rest in peace, when he decides to join them, Shoeless Joe invites him to go, and Ray saying, "Well, I don't mean to sound ungrateful, but what do I get out of this?" They said, "You're not invited, Ray." It's kind of crazy, because now Shoeless Joe Jackson's just been reinstated in baseball after all these years, so he's eligible for the Baseball Hall of Fame. I just want to go look at home plate real quick. Just show you the whole... When Archibald Graham has his one moment, all he wanted was that one at bat that he never got. Remember, he winks at the pitcher and the guy tries to beat him. But it happened right here.
Yeah.
That's deep enough.
Tag it up!
How awesome, huh? Better throw than me. Over here towards the store, they have a plaque to the woman who kept this going for so many years. Denise Stillman.
Says legend has it by rubbing Denise's face on her plaque below that both you, your family, and the Field of Dreams will prosper, thrive, and have great fortune.
Okay.
Do-de-do-de-do-de-do-de-do.
Me too. Now let's go over here and show you the side of the house we haven't shown you yet. This is the official front, but we see them parking their cars right up here on the side. That truck and the VW bus or whatever that was that he was taking a cross-country trip. And we see them run into the house from this side in the movie.
The man wrote the best books of his generation. I mean, he made the cover of Newsweek. He knew everybody. He did everything. Annie, the guy hasn't been to a live baseball game since 1958.
Right through that door.
So, in order to ease his pain, you're supposed to take him to a ball game.
Yes.
Which is where I started my tour when I took the tour here.
Good boys.
With enthusiasm.
Sign the baseball. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
As you can see, people are coming and going the whole time, much like in the movie at the end when Karen says, "You don't have to sell it. People are just going to come here and they won't even know why." And we see that whole big string of cars. I love this place because I love baseballism. That's the company that makes all this stuff, like the Babe Ruth. But they're also showing the movie, and they have quotes from the movie. So if by chance you're passing through Iowa, never had seen the movie, you can come and get the experience and read the quote here. People will definitely come. Look at the boxers. Those are great. There's a Vin Scully hat. They've got all kinds of cool stuff here. I have this one. I got this one last time I was here. But I also got this one, which I'm a big fan of. That's new, the Babe Ruth one. Last time I was here, I got a Great Ken Griffey Jr. one I don't see anymore. So these are the ones I got last time. However, that Roberto Clemente is new. That is really cool. Clemente. So we're gonna go ahead and depart. Boy, this was fun. We got like a whole Little League team showed up while we were here. So we've made our way over to Central Avenue in Dubuque, and this is where all the scenes of Ray looking for Terrance Mann in the Jewish area of Boston were filmed on this street. They actually closed down from 17th or 19th Street all the way to 13th Street, and that's where all the driving scenes and then him literally walking and asking people would have been right over here. One that we can for sure match up is right here. When he's asking the lady about Terrance Mann, she said, "I'm not gonna tell you nothing." They're walking right here. You can tell that there used to be a business right here.
I don't know where he means to get away from me. I ain't gonna tell you nothing.
So that glass matches up. And then this was the surefire giveaway. On this entire street, there's no other building that has an entrance with those double columns like that.
Go away. You're a mess.
So I'll show you that scene here again.
I'm gonna tell you nothing. Go away. You're a mess.
Now, unfortunately, the gas station where he asks about Terrance Mann, the guy tells him to go a few blocks up. It's the only door without a chicken in the window. Unfortunately, that gas station was demolished several years ago, but where Terrance Mann is found is right over here. So we see Ray walking right here. Very close shot of him right here. This brick, the red brick, would have been green in the movie, and the building next to it would have been black. But if you look up, you can tell that they've stripped the black paint off and that this has some discoloration, so it could have been green. But Katie actually helped me really figure out why we know this is for sure the spot. Because even though things change and things are altered for movies, when he's walking by here and passes by, Katie noticed that there was a gap in between the buildings, and that in that gap you could see that it was originally red brick. And there is only one place on this entire stretch of road, we looked every single place you could look, that had a window that big, with a window that big, its own doorway. Now the door that Ray sees has a window right here, hence the comment, it's the only door without a chicken hanging in the window. It's because all of these are like grocery market windows. So Ray passes by and then turns around and looks at that and opens the door and goes on up. And that's where he meets Terrance Mann and has that whole altercation. Now, from here they go to the Red Sox game. We're not going to do that. We're not going to Fenway Park today. But where we will go is they get their message about Moonlight Graham, Archibald Graham, while they're at Fenway Park. We're going to go to Galena, Illinois. That's where they go, which is supposedly Chisholm, Minnesota, to find Moonlight Graham. So we made it over to Galena, and this is Main Street. And they used mainly just Main Street and Galena for all the Chisholm scenes. So right here on the corner in front of the DeSoto house, when they first make it to Chisholm, you see this shot because they have a big sign that's celebrating the centennial of Chisholm going across here. You can see the stairs and everything because the camera kind of pulls down to where you see Terrance and Ray in a phone booth.
Half a dozen grams, no Archibald, no Moonlight.
That would have been located right where I'm standing, and he's looking up Archibald Graham through the phone directory.
Follow me.
That's when Terrance Mann says, "Hey, look over here," and they walk away from this very spot. So the phone booth would have been located right there. So when they're spending the night in Chisholm, Ray leaves Terrance to return his phone calls, and he's actually walking right past these windows at night. Because this was the theater. And he glances over in the window over here where Champagne on Main is, and he sees the Nixon poster. You can actually see the poster over top of the cross lines in the window there. And then he looks back over and looks up at the theater sign and sees that it says Godfather, one of the year's best. So he knows he's back in 1972.
This year's.
Then he basically walks over to the car that would have been parked here and reaches down and rubs the license plate to see that it says 72. So it kind of would have been a shot like that with him reaching down, checking it out right there. Then Ray turns around and looks over here, and down towards that corner he sees the shadowy image of Archibald Graham. So Ray starts running towards us through the street. And he's running towards Doc Graham over here on the corner. So Ray is running towards us and says, Dr. Graham, my name is Ray Kinsella. Are you Moonlight Graham? And he meets him right here and he says, nobody's called me Moonlight Graham in 50 years.
Dr. Graham?
So right here on this corner is where he tells him that he came a very long way to see him, and Dr. Graham says, I couldn't sleep tonight.
Are you Moonlight Graham?
No one's called me Moonlight Graham in 50 years.
Well, I've come a very long way to see you.
You know, I couldn't sleep tonight. Usually I sleep like a baby.
So, usually sleep like a baby.
I told Alicia I was going to take a walk.
Do you mind if I join you?
So they start walking off this way, and he says he'd like to talk to him. And he said, what would you like to talk to me about? And he said, well, you only played one inning in the majors.
Well, when you got to the majors, you played only one inning of one game. What happened that inning?
They start going off here.
What happened that inning?
So while they're out on their walk, and he's telling him about being up with the Giants for 3 weeks, you can see them walking across up here.
It was the last day of the season. Bottom of the 8th inning, we were way ahead.
So when they take their late night walk, they end up here, Doc Graham's office. We don't really see that angle, we just kind of see it like this when he's opening the door.
Yes, sir. I jumped up like I was sitting on a spring, grabbed my glove, and ran out on the field.
But this is where they go in, and he explains to Ray that he got to play part of an inning, never got to bat, and that was his dream. Then they sent him back down. Giants sent him back down to the minors, and the season ended, and he just couldn't bear the thought of having another season in the minors, so he went into the family business, which was becoming a doctor, and helped a lot of people's lives. So of course Ray takes him back to the field, and he gets to play that game with all the old ghosts, and then saves Ray's daughter. Hope you guys have enjoyed this. We're not done. We're done with the filming locations, but Moonlight Graham was a real person, and it was really a true story. So we're gonna go see his grave, and we'll tell you that. We'll tell you about why Moonlight Graham ended up in the Field of Dreams story. So it's kind of crazy. The real Archibald Moonlight Graham, Doc Graham, that the movie was and the book was based off of, he really did live in Chisholm, Minnesota, but for some odd reason, he's buried here in the Rochester Cemetery, many, many miles from Chisholm. So it's said that the inspiration for this story was actually from William Kinsella, the writer, reading the obituary for the real Archibald Moonlight Graham. And that scene where the lady at the newspaper is reading the obituary.
And there were times when children could not afford eyeglasses or milk or clothing. Yet no child was ever denied these essentials, because in the background there was always Dr. Graham.
What she read is exactly what he read. So I'll put that right here.
Without any fanfare or publicity, the glasses or the milk or the ticket to the ball game found their way into the child's pocket.
And so Doc Graham is actually buried right here. The true story was that he was a baseball player in the early 1900s, and he was in the minor leagues for 7 years with no luck, only getting to play one inning in that entire time. So he got his name Moonlight because he was moonlighting as a baseball player at the same time that he was studying for his doctorate. So you can see, if you've seen the movie, the date is a little different, and I love that so many people leave baseballs, but the date they use in the movie is 72, where his real death was in 65, but he does talk about Alicia, his wife, being, he said, she'll think I'm out running around on her when he's out doing that walk at night. And they said that the story was true. He became a doctor, and for 44 years, he was with the school system. And so he treated, if you can imagine, the early 1900s, all of the horrible things that kids were dealing with then. So he was seeing them through that, and so he saw the struggles of people. And so when it said that no kid was without a ticket to a game, it's because of that. Now, nobody really seems to know the reason that he's buried here. Alicia was from the area, so it's potentially that, but also he loved going to the Mayo Clinic, and the Mayo Clinic is here, and so it was thought that he had actually come here over 100 times in his life, and he said that he loved to go there and see what the boys were working on, what they were coming up with. So there was some thought that maybe that's why he's buried here. But after seeing the movie, it's a cool concept, you know, to think of somebody who lived a whole different life but had a dream that never materialized. Then this movie, he gets to go back in time to play that game, get that one at bat he never got.
He really did lead an amazing life. He was from Chisholm, Minnesota, which is way up in the Iron Range. So it was pretty desolate times for the people up there. He really connected with the children. On Saturdays, he would make sure that all the children would get their eyes checked, and he was responsible, just like the obituary said, for making sure that glasses were coming in and that no child who didn't get glasses would make sure that they got them. So he really did care about the community. So as amazing as this facet was, that he had a baseball career, and even went
that
on
he never knew about.
He never knew about practically.
His biggest fame now is for a movie that he had nothing to do with and was just a character in. But you're right. He, during his time of working for the school system, he treated people with the flu epidemic of 1918, measles, diphtheria, typhoid, tuberculosis, polio. So he really saw children suffer and went out of his way.
Not getting a lot of money too, because that was, again, there were minors up there, so it was really, really hard times. So he had an amazing ball career. He only played the one game in the pros, but he did go on for, I believe, about 3 years after the fact playing minors, and that's when ultimately he went to medical school. So, and
while he was in medical school, he said he gained some weight so that he could play for the college football team. But yeah, unfortunately his career and baseball is not meant to be, but he did so much other stuff. And I love the fact that the writer found this one obituary just randomly, and it sparked a great movie like we have Field of Dreams.
Yes, he was a good man. And it was interesting, Burt Lancaster's final movie role was playing Moonlight Graham.
Yeah, it's great scenes between Burt Lancaster and Kevin Costner.
Yeah, he really added something special to this show. I mean, up until the end, this was a character that I think people could really connect with.
And as you can see by all the baseballs, he gets tons of visitors. Crazy. I hope you guys have enjoyed our vlog today and seeing the filming locations and even the grave of the real Archibald Graham. Unfortunately, the author passed away a few years ago, and I would love to know what he thought of the legacy that movie has left behind, because he didn't like they changed the title of what it was originally going to be. But I don't know, I think Field of Dreams is perfect. So thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time from Archibald Moonlight Graham's grave. Goodbye.